as I finally got good internet installed. So, breaking news, President Joe Biden has decided to step down as the nominee for president and now endorses Kamala Harris, who's not very popular, but this will be interesting. First off, how does it make sense that the man is unfit to seek re-election now, months away from the election, but he can continue to be president and be the sole authority over the nuclear codes, and he's good to go, just not going to try to get reelected. Even though he got all the delegates during the primaries, other than, I think, America Samoa. It's like the only one that he didn't win. So he won every state earlier this year, lost only the territory of American Samoa. Yep. So there's at least 30,896 delegates that have been pledged to support Biden. And the current rules that the DNC operates under, he's not allowed to just pass these delegates on to a candidate of his choosing. So even though he endorsed Kamala, we don't know what's going to happen. The DNC is, I believe, August 19th, and ultimately they will pick who they want the candidate to be there. It probably wouldn't look very good optically to throw Kamala out when she is the vice president. But that said, she's polling even worse than Biden was in the polls because she's not very likable. Her weird cackling laugh, she speaks in circles, just says the same thing in a different way every time she's speaking. And let's just be honest. She got to where she is politically by, getting down on her knees. There, I'm just going to say it. And she was a corrupt AG, responsible for jailing a lot of people just on simple marijuana charges and withholding evidence for a man that was on death row that proved his innocence. Let that sink in. Because Tulsi years ago just absolutely demolished her in debates. And if the Democrat Party would have actually let Tulsi get the nomination, I might have voted Democrat the first time in my life. I like Tulsi Gabbard, but the Democrats went complete opposite way, and they are now the far left crazy party. So, Biden steps down, endorses Kamala, but I don't know. Who do you think it's going to be? It's not guaranteed to be Kamala unless they somehow change the rules and Biden's allowed to give all of his delegates to Kamala or a candidate of his choosing. I was waiting for Hillary 3.0 announcement, which still could happen, but apparently the Clintons endorsed Harris as well. But don't put it past old Hill Dog. I think she would be very bitter to see another woman become the first president. Another woman that isn't her become the first president of the United States. And I could see her running again, third time's a charm. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of speculation was that Michelle Obama would be the nominee because she is kind of popular, but I don't think Michelle wants anything to do with politics. I think she's enjoying just being off on the sideline. I do not think she wants any of that smoke being president. So let's see here. Will anyone challenge Harris? Gavin Newsom, California, he has been floated out there, and he's been doing a lot of groundwork. Kind of looked like they might, but I don't think that's going to poll well with the Democrat Party to throw Kamala, woman of color, under the bus and replace her with a white man. That doesn't bode well for the Democrat Party. So I think right now it's looking like they have to go with Kamala, but we shall see come August 19th, the DNC, if they pick someone else. And to be honest, if Biden didn't step down, like all of the top Democrats have been asking for the past week or more, I was going to recommend Biden double up on security too, because as you can see, I got my tinfoil hat on. I think they're still going to try on Trump. The more and more info that comes out on that assassination attempt, you cannot convince me that there was not foul play and that was not planned to some degree, because things just aren't adding up. And if Biden wouldn't have stepped down, it wouldn't surprise me if they then tried to take him out too. There are some very sinister people in control of our government that a lot of people don't realize. Which just goes to show you the president doesn't have a bunch of power in this country, no matter who it is. I mean, Biden still is competent enough for these next several months to be president, but not competent enough to seek re-election suddenly. Yeah, okay. Somebody's telling him that, and that means he's not really running the show. But those of us that pay attention already knew that. But again, as I've mentioned, I think Trump needs to hire some private security, preferably ex-special forces guys, because this is just ridiculous. The more information that comes out. Now they're saying the shooter had a drone that he was flying around the event prior. That's not acceptable. And then they knew about him like upward to 3 hours before the event, confronted him where he had a rangefinder on him. And then 10 minutes before Trump even went out on stage, Secret Service identified him as not suspicious, as a threat. And you're telling me they still let Trump go out on that stage with a threat identified? It just doesn't make sense. There'll probably be no accountability. There are definitely some interesting videos out there that none of the mainstream media news are showing. Trump supporters being interviewed right after the fact and saying that there was indeed another shooter on the water tower. Now, hey, heat of the moment, when stuff like that happens, you do get weird conflicting stories from people. The story changes. So I'm not saying, that's definitely, there was a shooter there. But it is funny that I think Fox had initially posted an interview with a woman talking about a shooter on the water tower, and then they scrubbed it. So when the mainstream media isn't showing things, and especially when they first show it and then take it down, there's reason to be suspicious. But there's a lot of interesting audio breakdowns now coming out of, potentially two shooters. And since this is my first time going live, we're going to see how this turns out. It's looking like it's a solid connection. My previous internet could not handle it. Just got new internet a couple days ago. So I might start going live more often if this is working well. And I might do another video on some breakdowns on the Trump assassination attempt because, like I said, it's too much. At first, I didn't have the tinfoil hat on. I was like, you know what? A lot of people hate Trump. And I'm surprised these maniacs didn't try sooner. But the more and more that comes out, watch video, it just does not add up, people. Like, there's no way. And the fact that nobody got fired, if it was really just total incompetence and people not doing their jobs and being, lackadaisical, then a bunch of people need fired. And they haven't fired anybody. So if they're not firing people, maybe it's because it was planned. And my tinfoil theory now, considering Nikki Haley was at the RNC for some reason, even though her and Trump do not get along, was Trump was supposed to be taken out that day on the 13th, right before the RNC. And their plan would have then been to install Nikki Haley. Because lo and behold, after the attempt, what do we see? Oh, Iran has stated they want to assassinate former President Trump. Really? Really? You think we're that dumb? These people will do anything they can to get their precious war with Iran. And Nikki Haley is one of the biggest war hawks out there. So the plan was, in my opinion, take Trump out, give Nikki Haley the nomination, then, you can't not go to war with a country that assassinates your former president and frontrunner to the current election. So they would have their justification to go to war. And she would be out there saying, we are going to get Iran for the terrible crimes they did, taking out former President Trump. This will not stand. And they'd have their precious war. And they'll keep trying. Trump needs to hire more security, private security, and question those around him as well. Because I know there's some people on Trump's team that are kind of snakes and will probably turn on him at any point in time. But I'm going to end the live stream there, see how it turned out since it's my first time going live. And I might hop back on. Make sure you give a like, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube. This is supposed to be streaming to YouTube as well. We'll see how that turns out because I'm recording through Riverside. But give me a like, follow, comment. Do you think it's going to be Kamala, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer's name was thrown out there, Michelle Obama? I personally think you got to replace Joe Biden, the 80-year-old, with another man up there in age. Keep the streak going on old white men, Get Bernie back in there. Where are my Bernie bros at? I'm just kidding. But I don't think Kamala has a shot against her. She polls way lower than Biden. I'll stop it there. Maybe I'll go live again. Give me a like. Give me a follow. Comment what you think. Who is going to get the Democrat nomination come August? Trad West Podcast out.